it.
Whenever I have to drive from work to home, I have to lose the connection, but
Yes,
I'll
I
I'll get it
understand.
back.
No, I
Yeah.
know. The email communications with cosmic insights.
Oh yeah, very interesting. I was just reading actually, and then I sent you a response. Um,
I didn't see your email. Sorry, I didn't see. I would have missed it. I didn't check because I just took a shower some time ago and I finished my prayer. So I just did everything before this so that I'm ready, you know. So I probably didn't even see your email. So yeah,
oh, it's no problem.
okay, okay. I'm seeing it now. Okay, got it, got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm just reading your email now. Perfect. So sorry, I didn't see it. And you know what was interesting, Scarlett? One more thing. Lalita sent me a message offline. So what is interesting is there is one famous website in India. It's called NDTV. Okay, they were the only ones to call it out as April 14th as Akshaya Tritiya. Okay, and what happened is on May 13th, they went and updated the website where the initial part says April 14th, the latter part says May 14th.
Oh no.
You
So
know,
everyone is confused about this then.
no, so here is the thing, right? They called it right, but I guess they were much earlier. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Then they called it as April 14th, and eventually it went into May 14th, you know. So, but their same website says April 14th and May 14th, both in their website, you know.
Hmm. And does it give any reason why, or is it just like
No,
an...
I think, see, we could see that the website was updated last on May 13th, one day before calling it as May 14th, because they were under pressure or something from everybody else calling, the thing is on May 14th. Yeah. So I think that's probably what I think it is,
Okay.
so I
Hmm.
thought it was interesting.
It is interesting. What is the website again?
It's called NDT. I'll send you the link. It's a website about called NDTV.
Okay, great.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link as well. Okay, have a read it. When you read it, you'll be shocked as well. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those weird things as well. But I hope I don't know. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, but there's been interesting communication. So I don't know. I knew that's what I didn't want to come initially. So I was very hesitant to do. But I said, okay, we'll do it because it's always going and hitting a dead end kind of a thing. That's the way I saw it.
Yeah. It was good though that she was responding in a timely fashion to the emails just now. Like I read them all at once, and
Yeah,
so
but
it was,
but you know how many times I chased? Did you read how many times I pushed back because she knew that I was not going to give up.
yeah, it's true. I did notice that. It's very
That
true.
that that was the whole point, right? She knew that way, right? So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's it's hard to know. It doesn't, it seems more like customer management than actually like inquiry with the motivation to make changes.
true, exactly, right? And so yeah, but yeah, so hopefully we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'll keep fingers crossed, but I think people are using cosmic insights. It's important for them to know what's going on here in terms of some of their information which is being shared is incorrect, and they kind of agreed for the 360. If you saw the settings, they said we'll put that. They didn't say yes, right? No, but they said we'll put 360 for you, as though they're doing a favor for me. I don't even use cosmic insights.
That is a big change though.
It
I wonder
is.
if it will be announced or publicized or if it will just be
No.
as a
So
setting.
I think it's a silence. It's a setting, right? They said we'll give you 360 plus 365 25.
Yeah. I haven't seen any changes on the software side
It'll
and
come
but
very soon, I guess, right? They have
yeah.
agreed externally. They have to figure out how to do all these things and coding and all those things.
And
So,
And when that comes, for a room like this, and there's many people coming in now hearing this conversation, we can have a session that explains what that, the logic, obviously, and
Yes.
then how to make sure that whatever software you're using is accurate to that 360. um,
Totally, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's been a nightmare, I guess, getting into this whole thing. That's always a challenge when you get into this. Yeah, so that's a big challenge that way.
yeah. And I think it would still be good. I sent you, we can talk offline about
Yes,
scheduling,
please.
but
Sure.
to still do some of that data work, just so that even if it's for our own, like a group like this, have being able to show with some numbers what the difference is between those settings,
Correct.
so that people are motivated to that accuracy.
Sure, absolutely. And I had few of the people in one of my sessions, consulting session. There was one person who already acknowledged to me. She also spoke at Clubhouse, I think, why she was asking me why things were always happening 5 months, 6 months before an Mahadasa, Antardasa thing. It was just always showing thing. And when I did the session and everything with her, she was like, now I understand why that 6 months gap is happening. Exactly, she could relate back to the events which I said.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I
So,
actually recently, like 2 months ago, we were going through like storage, and my partner, we
yeah.
found a telegram from Hong Kong from 1980 when he was born,
Oh my
that
God.
had a different birth time. So I changed the birth time, and it's like his ascendant changed from Ardra backwards to, this is very relevant to Gemini, back to, how do you say correctly, Mugashira?
Yeah,
Is this,
Mrigashira. Yeah,
and it's
Mrigashira.
like these are two different people. Because
Exactly.
this is a
Exactly, right?
completely different personality than
So you
Ardra.
can do you
Yeah,
can do time correction also if you want, right? If you want, you can do time correction.
yeah,
But I guess it's important to do time correction in this process as well. You know?
yeah. But it really was like such excellent proof of how, a few minutes can dramatically change what you're
True.
seeing in a chart. And all this time, for years, I've been like, you're like maybe this is like the great illusion of Rahu or
It
something. This is
is. It
Ardra. It doesn't feel
is.
like Ardra. I'm like waiting for something to happen, and I'm like, oh, okay. This makes so much more sense. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Scarlett. I'll follow up. Hi, Kushita. Hi, Marjorie. We'll start the
Hi
room. Yeah,
everyone.
sorry. Hi, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you've dialed in from. So, thank you for joining. And thanks for joining the Vedic Astrology Club. Thanks for joining all about Gemini today. So, today is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And I know for some people in India and Far East, Southeast, it's probably Thursday. So, happy Thursday to you guys as well. And so, we'll be focusing pretty much on Gemini today. Myself, Srini, and thanks for joining. Please continue to follow the Vedic Astrology Club and myself and the mods and speakers in this room as well. And also that I want to kind of shout out a few things in this process. Number one, as I mentioned yesterday as well, I've been having a lot of messages and I'm trying to respond back quickly. So but it takes time because I have a lot of messages, and I'm very happy to see that, but I'm also a little overwhelmed because everybody wants an answer. So people, do not resend message. I will definitely come back to you. Yeah, so thank you for your patience, because as you know, myself and everybody here as well, we have other jobs as well than this, right? So we're trying to manage this process and support along this as well. So thank you for your patience, number one. Number two is we are still trying to figure out what is the process for recording. So today, I don't think we'll be recording the session. At least I am not, and even moderators are also not recording because for us, with the regular work coming back just in time, it's just difficult to manage this whole logistics. So we are still trying to figure out the logistics here of recording. So it might take time. Okay, but we are not doing it today, just to let you know. Two, third one I would say is that once we close out the room in terms for asking questions, right? Questions, and then please feel free to raise your hand, and you can come up and make sure to limit one question, because today is Mercury Day as well, right? And so do understand that there is Mrigashira Nakshatra happening today as well. So Mars energy is there, but Mercury day, so Wednesday. So there will be a sort of logical thinking. So make sure to think through this as well with your question. Keep limit to one question, and if your turn will come again when we have an ending. We are looking at about 8:45 as the 8:30 to 8:45 as the cutoff session for closure today. So keep an eye on that as well. Yeah, and we'll make sure that if there is time, we'll bring you back to the stage to speak as well. And also, no personal charts allowed. Yeah, so be aware of that as well. And last but not the least is, let's keep to the Gemini. Yeah, Gemini is an important thing, so let's keep to that. So Kushita, I'll go ahead and I'll make you reset the room, Kushita. Thank you.
Thanks, Srini. There's not much to add. I think it's 6:45 now, so we have 2 hours. I just want to say that I'm really going to like be a strict moderator today and keep it to one question. So apologies in advance if I cut you off as you're on the way to your second question. Also, I have been getting some messages from people, or I've been getting emails asking for access to a certain file. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really not able to respond to these messages. I'm not getting the same deluge that Shini is receiving, but it's just really not possible for me to reply to these. So apologies in advance for that as well. So with that, I think we can start off, Shini.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you. Thanks, Kushita. Hi, Marjorie. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday. Hi. So we'll be discussing about Gemini. Okay. So as I always do, right? As I always do, I'll do a quick thing intro on the 12 houses and 9 planets, so that you're all up to speed on this. Because it's the more you hear it, the more I think it's also important to understand how much you need to know to break that. So I'll break down, because it in all the sessions of this you should know this in by heart, okay? Because these are basics. So you have 12 houses, 9 planets, right? And we'll break down the 12 houses. So you have starting from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay, number one. So you have the 12 houses. Now I'm going to break down into different ways. So I am sitting in my backyard. Are you guys able to hear, or you're just hearing a flight in the background? I'm not flying. I love flights and travel.
We can hear you, Shrini, but when there's a flight overhead, we can actually also hear that.
So I'm not traveling now, but it's always my flight thing. So okay, all right. I live very close to an airport, so that's probably why it is. All right, but got it. Thank you. So so that's the 12 houses. Now we can break it down into several layers, right? The first way I break it down is masculine, feminine, right? All odd houses are masculine, even houses are feminine. So all odd houses starting from 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 are masculine. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 are feminine. Okay. So you know what it is, right? So Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius, all are masculine in nature. The feminine are the even houses, which is starting from Taurus, then Cancer, then you have Virgo, then you have Scorpio, you have Capricorn and Pisces. Okay, this is one way of breaking it down. Another way of breaking it down is by elements: fire, earth, air, water. Right. So your fire signs, right? If you look at Aries, you have Sagittarius, and you have Leo and Sagittarius. Yeah, fire signs. The earth element is Capricorn, or sorry, I start from Taurus, and then you have Leo, and then so you have um, Taurus, Virgo, and you have Capricorn. Okay, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The air element is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and the water element is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay, so this is one way of breaking it down. The next one is you can break it down by the way how their nature is. So your movable, fixed, and dual. Okay, the movable are Aries, Libra, or Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. The fixed are Taurus, then Leo, Scorpio, and um, Aquarius. The dual signs are Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Virgo. So we are talking about Gemini, which is the movable sign here. Okay. Now this is the way of breaking, and always look at it. So if you have Gemini is also a house which is about future. You can also break it down by past, present, and future. Right. The past is your Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Your present is the next ring, right? From Taurus, then you have Taurus, and then so Aries, I said Aries, Cancer, right? So your Taurus, Leo, and then you have Scorpio and Aquarius. And the future is the the more of, I would say, the Gemini, right? You start from Gemini. That's the future we are talking about here, right? Then you have Gemini. So I'm losing my thought. I need my. Give me 1 minute. I need my chart. Okay, so you have Aries. So I spoke about Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. This is all your past. Okay, then your present houses. So any planets in these houses, count Aries, Libra, or Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. When you check this, you will have the how many planets. If you have a lot of planets, you're always associated with the past, right? That is something very difficult for you to forget, forgive, all those things. It's always like a memory thing. Okay. The present is you start from Taurus and then Leo, right? And then you have Scorpio and then Aquarius. Okay. And then your future is your starting from Gemini, right? And then you have Virgo, and then you have Sagittarius and Pisces. Okay, so you see how it is broken down, right? The past, present, future. So this is important. Now, within planets, if you look at in terms of the nature of the planets, right? You have benefic, malefic, and the sex of the planets. So, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and I kind of put Rahu here. Many put Rahu in female also. I put Rahu here. Moon and Venus are female, and then the other planets, so Sun, Moon, Sun, Mars are all Rahu, right? Sun, Mars, Rahu, and Jupiter are all male. Moon, Venus, female, and then you have Saturn, Mercury, and Ketu, Enoch. Now, in terms of benefic and malefic, right? Benefic, benefic is your Jupiter, then your full moon, and if Jupiter if access aspects the full moon, then it's still a benefic. Okay, then you have Venus, you have a separate or independent Mercury, and a waxing moon. In the right hand side, if you look at it, you have the starting from Rahu, then Ketu, then you have Saturn, and then after Saturn you have Mars, and then you have a waning moon, and the last, and then you have the new moon as well, right? The new moon is also very malefic here because it doesn't have any light. That's the whole thing. Now, Sun, I've not said it because Sun is mal malefic. It's 50% benefic and 50% malefic. That's the way how Sun is. Okay, so we have broken down all this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into Gemini now. As we go into Gemini, the owner is Mercury, okay? And you know, Mercury owns two houses, Gemini and Virgo, okay? And between the two houses, Mercury loves Virgo over Gemini, okay? Mercury loves Virgo over Gemini. So, something important to note as well. Now, Now, if you see that what is important in this whole thing is Mercury, right, is also a planet which is dual in nature or has got a duality process, right? The same way these houses, which is dual houses, has got dual nature in it. Okay, so very strong dual nature. Gemini has got a very strong dual nature as well. Unlike Virgo, Virgo is also got dual nature, but not the same as Gemini. Okay, so many times, if you see people with multiple personalities and stuff, a lot of these dual houses are associated along with somebody like Rahu. Okay, So that is the way you have to, one needs to understand to interpret. Now, Mercury will do very well for, or overall Mercury, right, will do very well as a planet for all the Team B ascendants, which are Saturn based, Mercury based, Venus based, which is Libra and Taurus, Gemini and Virgo, and Capricorn Aquarius. Okay, because these are of Team B, including where Rahu is also there with Team B. Do understand one important thing: Mercury, because of its dual nature, being um, Mercury is also a benefic if it is independent, even for Team A. Okay, it can help you a lot. Okay, it's not that bad, provided it is alone by itself. Okay, so that when Mercury is with a malefic, even Saturn, its friend, etc., it becomes a malefic. Even with Sun, he becomes half malefic here, which is still a malefic. Mars definitely yes. Okay, so that is very important to know whether how Mercury behaves. Now, very important characteristics of these ascendants here, especially the dual ascendants. We're touching Gemini today. I always say this. Okay, before we go into this in detail, Gemini ascendant, Virgo ascendant, Libra ascendant, and Pisces ascendant, little bit not that bad. So Pisces ascendant has got a little bit more blessing than all these three ascendants in the dual nature. That they have to be a little careful about their marriage. Okay, they have to be very careful is because of the dual nature here of these houses. Okay, as when they marry, how they marry, and all those things, the age they marry, and all those things. Okay, so do understand that because these dual ascendants has got what is called a Kendra Adipatya dosha. The Kendra Adipatya dosha means that a benefic. I will go slowly on this because I have to touch Kendra Adipatya dosha when I touch any of these dual ascendants. A benefic, when owning one Kendra itself, gets a Kendra Adipatya dosha. Now, which is the other benefic other than Mercury and Jupiter is Venus. Now, Venus owns only one benefic, I mean, one Kendra as a benefic. It will never own two Kendras at any ascendant. For a Cancer ascendant, if you take, Venus owns the fourth house and 11th, so fourth is a Kendra. Leo ascendant, Venus owns a 10th house and a third. Okay, so any other ascendant, it'll own, even if you take Capricorn, it'll have 10th house and 5th house. So anytime Venus will only get one Kendra and another could be any other house, a Trikona, whatever it is. But for Capricorn and Aquarius, Venus becomes a Yoga Karaka. That's a whole different story. Okay. Now, what is important in this is, right? What is important is this Kendra Adipati dosha means how we have to understand is anything with excess is a problem. So you have lemon juice or lemonade. I put 1 spoon of sugar, you will have it. 2 spoons of sugar, you will have it. If you put 10 spoons of sugar, you can't even touch it. The excess, it becomes like vomiting sensation, right? So that is what exactly happens to this Kendra Adipati dosha. When a benefic planet, right? When a benefic planet like Jupiter and Mercury owns two Kendras, right? Owns two, not sit in a Kendra, owns two Kendras, as in this case, the dual ascendants, they have Kendra Adipatya dosha. Okay. The reason because of that is because of the excess. That is the reason these people all the more have to be important around their marriage and partner, etc. Okay. So now we will go overall about Gemini. Okay. For Gemini, if you look at, it's a natural third house, right, owned by Mercury owns the sixth house, and this house is about intelligence. Okay, the intelligence I say is not bookish intelligence, because bookish intelligence falls in Virgo. Okay, this intelligent, I would say, is like something associated with street intelligence, street smart. Okay, or a person who becomes a genius without a book, right? It is also somewhere related to occult science, astrology, unlocking a whole lot of hidden things, being the natural third house. Okay, this house has also got, all this because of dual nature. they also have double-minded thoughts about it, right? They can't make the decision quickly, right? One way that is, you see that way they are double-minded. Another way you can look at the positive side is these people are always flexible, can bend around things. Okay, they're never rigid because of the double-minded nature. So there is like plus and minus both the ways. Um, you know, they like to use their head to think a lot. Okay, the reason is because of the mercurial nature here, right? and and again, this is beyond the book, so they like to crack a code kind of a thing, apply rational logic and try to dig deep and understand. Okay, but this is again, do not confuse about a book here, because this is not bookish kind of a thing that goes to Virgo. Okay, very strong, as I mentioned earlier, dual nature here. Okay, look at the picture of the Gemini here. You have like twins kind of a thing, right? But it's not twins, it's two people here. Okay, so there are two people here, right? But look at Virgo sign, you have only one person here. Okay, so Virgo is different. That's why this dual nature is very strong, because of the image as well. You see there are two people here. Okay, very strong masculine in nature, the sign is. Okay, and also it is a airy sign, very important air sign, right? And it's always looks to the future. Okay, so people with a strong Gemini, many planets in Gemini, Gemini ascendant, right? Gemini ascendant, Gemini moon, etc., right? Would think more about their future, worry more about future. Okay, what do I need to do next, the next 5 years, next 10 years, etc., right? So you should also have to look at your ascendant and your moon sign to see how it is. Okay, so that's very important. If you look at some of the things, right? Um, the way I also say is, if Gemini is a barren sign, also very important, barren sign. So people who have the fifth house as Gemini, like Aquarius ascendant, okay, and the house owner Mercury goes and sits in another barren sign. So Aquarius ascendant, the fifth house is owned by Gemini, right? Mercury. And if Mercury goes and sits in another house of a barren sign, so what are the barren signs? Aries, then Gemini, then you have Virgo, and then you have Leo. If Mercury sits anyone in one of these five signs, okay, what happens is usually they will have delay in having kids or no kids. Okay, and when the delay happens for them for kids, usually the first kid will become a female. Okay, the first kid will always be a female. So you can see that. Now you have to see whether how Jupiter is placed, is Jupiter aspecting, because that will change. But otherwise, usually these are the rules, because Gemini is also a barren sign. Okay, uh, what are the nakshatras, right? The nakshatras, if you look at, you start from Ardra nakshatra, right? Ardra nakshatra is there. You have then Mrigashira nakshatra. So parts of Mrigashira, two parts of Mrigashira will be there. Then the full part of Ardra will be here, and then you have the Jupiter's nakshatra Punarvasu. The first three padas it will come. The fourth pada goes to Cancer. Okay, so you will have that as well. Um, the other important thing I would say is that there is a lot of energy of Rahu here. Okay, there is a lot of energy of Rahu. There is a lot of energy of Jupiter and Mars here. Okay, so somewhere there is this dignification happens through this energy of Jupiter here. Okay, and being a dual sign, right? Being a dual sign, these people also have the ability sometimes to learn many things. Like sometimes, you can think it of master of all trades, jack of none kind of a thing. Ability to be, an all-rounder kind of a thing. But if Jupiter is here and think, then it makes the person go deeper into it versus being an all-rounder kind of a thing, right? That changes the whole ball game in this aspect. So being, so this is a very strong air sign. Okay, so if you remember back COVID, right? When the COVID, actually the first day trigger happened, I thought it was November 17, 2019. And Rahu was sitting in Gemini here, right? Rahu was sitting in Gemini in Ardra Nakshatra, and Ketu was sitting in Purvashada at the time in Sagittarius. So very strong air sign. So people, I would say, this is dual nature. So air science, so a lot of airline jobs, aeronautical jobs, right? Aeronautical studying jobs, even software is associated with it, right? Some kind of math is involved in this process and accounting. But usually what happens is degree may not matter. Okay, which means what happens, they could study some basic education but go into one of these industries and fields. It can be a different education they would have studied, but they would have been in these fields. Okay, so the degree really does not matter for them here. The education does not matter here. Okay. Now, what is the exception is if you have planets, strong planets like Jupiter, Mercury, and all here, it would actually make them study as well. But without that, not really. Okay. So do know that as well. Okay. So I'm trying to think what else. Jupiter, Mercury. So I spoke about Jupiter and Mercury and the Kendra Adipati dosha, right? And Venus doesn't get the same way as Jupiter and Mercury. Now, between Jupiter and Mercury, Mercury actually doesn't suffer a lot of Kendradipatya dosha. The only reason is because Mercury is not as benefic as Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is the greatest benefic. So Jupiter does suffer some kind of Kendradipatya dosha more than Mercury among the two. Okay, so something important to note as well in this process, right? So that's something important to note. And no planets get exalted in Gemini. No planets get debilitated. Usually, I would say that Rahu doesn't do well in Gemini. I know a lot of books may say, you may hear a lot of things, but from my experience, I don't give credit for Rahu sitting here for doing well. Okay. I'm trying to think. Then we'll go by all the planets as well. And definitely, Jupiter is not placed great here. Jupiter, I would say Mars not placed great here. Moon is so okay, okay, not bad. And Rahu's not good as well. Okay, so we'll start with all the planets. We'll start with Sun. Okay, so Sun loves, or Mercury loves Sun very much, right? And Mercury is so happy that Sun is in his house, right? If some in Gemini, okay. But Sun is so. Sun is neutral to Mercury, unlike Mercury to Sun, okay. So then what happens? What do you see is that it's more like a friend to a neutral house, okay. So that is the relationship. Okay, so it's important that even Sun is placed here. It's okay to a good position, but the important point is Sun has to be dignified. So the dignified should be with either a Jupiter or Venus. Okay, Jupiter or Venus, and sitting or aspect, and not because that's very important for Sun to do right well. Now, what is important is Sun should not be aspected by, I would say, a Saturn here or a Rahu conjunction or Saturn conjunction. Very important, okay, which is very bad, okay. Um, Especially if Sun is in the nakshatra of Ardra, it's a big problem, okay. Sun in Ardra. So unless the Jupiter dignifies the Sun, there are challenges if Sun sits in Ardra, okay. Jupiter or even Venus for that matter, okay. Uh, I'm trying to think. But if Sun is sitting here, let's say, okay, and Moon is sitting in opposite in Sagittarius, it's a beautiful position because it's a full moon, right? It's a full moon, and the Sun gets dignified in this process. So the way to understand dignification is, okay, mark your calendar, and whenever there is a full moon happening, go outside and see, record the temperature, go outside and see, feel that evening, and same thing, go out on a new moon. Okay, go out on a new moon. What you will see is on a full moon day, right? In the same month versus a new moon, you would see a full moon would be very nice, very warm, or cooling, pleasant, soothing, etc. It feels maybe a little colder. All those things will come on a full moon day. On a new moon day, if you go and do the same thing, you will feel, oh my God, it's so hot, it's sticky, it's humid, all those things you will see. So that's that energy of light of moon, which is so important, which dignifies the sun as well in this process, other than the earth and the planets. Okay. So that's about sun. Now, moon, see, moon is fine because moon, 12 houses are fine except Scorpios get debilitated, but otherwise, moon doesn't really have any enemy except Rahu and Ketu. Yeah. But, but the only challenge is Mercury. consider Moon as his enemy. Okay, so he's very unhappy when Moon is here. Okay, so that's the whole problem. Now, what happens is usually when people have the Moon here, right? What happened is they may be intelligent, but they will usually speak less. So that's very important as well, right? Because but you'll have to see the strength of the moon again, whether it's a full moon. If sun is in Sagittarius, then beautiful position again. Okay, beautiful. Jupiter aspect, excellent. Again, moon should not be with Rahu or with Ketu or aspected by Saturn as well in this case. Okay, so that's very important. Mars aspect is not that bad because Mars and Moon are friends here. Okay, so if Moon is with Rahu, right, or Ketu or Saturn, there is always issues. Okay, with different kind of syndromes you will see, Down syndrome, mind issues, like ability to listen, focus, all those things are there. Okay, so that is something important to note as well. That's for moon. Then comes Mars, right? So we have finished sun, moon. Okay, Mars. So Mars is it is really not a good place, right? Because Mars feels very enemy. Mercury's enemy may be the moon, but Mars considered Mercury as his enemy. So he doesn't want to be in his enemy house. Just the same way a person doesn't want to go and visit one of your, inimical or whatever it is, right? Not your friend's party or something, because you're going to be very uncomfortable, right? So that's the way Moon, I mean, or Mars feels here as well, okay? And very important if you look at it, right? You always have to check Moon, Mars, and all with Mercury Parivartana exchange yoga. Then it's okay. Exchange is fine, not bad, okay? But do understand Mars will do better when there is exchange with Mercury, okay? So you have to see which ascendant, whether Mars gets dignified by Moon, Jupiter, or Venus. Okay, so that's very important. And Mars should not be with Rahu. Mars should not be with Saturn, and Mars and Saturn should not aspect each other. For example, if Saturn is in Virgo, Mars in Gemini, Saturn would throw a 10th aspect on Mars. Mars would throw a fourth aspect on Saturn. So that is a big problem that way. Okay. So that is very important in this process to understand as well in terms of this aspects or the mutual aspects. The next one is Mercury. Okay. Mercury, it's his own house, right? So Mercury's own house are Virgo and Gemini. Mercury's Mula Trikona falls in Virgo, and Mercury is exalted at 15 degrees in Virgo. So this is Mercury's second favorite house, not the first favorite house. So do note that as well. Okay, when Mercury is here, that person is very smart. Okay, people might be even jealous of this person, right? He's very intelligent, right? But again, you have to check what house it is, which lord, etc., which ascendant, because Mercury will be automatically favorable for team B ascendants always. Okay, so you always have, when you check for Mercury position and Venus position, you should always check if there is a exchange house yoga, Parivartana yoga, because Sun, Mercury, Venus are always together, right? They are called the threefold planets. They always go together. Okay, the you can call it as the three-man army kind of a thing. Okay, so you have to check. Sometimes, many cases, what happens, Mercury could be sitting in Taurus, Venus could be sitting in Gemini. So there is a Parivartana yoga here, right? So you have to see whether it's placed. And if Mercury is placed here, will be great, right? It's very good position again. Even if Mercury is with Sun, is fine, not a problem at all, right? And but the problem here is, if it's with moon, there is a challenge because Mercury will push a moon a lot, and moon is a little uncomfortable here because of this push. Okay, but Mercury and Mars is here is a big problem. Okay, and Mercury with Saturn, here is where you have to understand. Even though Mercury, Saturn are all team B together partners, they are malefic still. Saturn is still malefic. So Mercury will become a malefic here and will give issues here. Okay. So you should know when to understand the relationships, how will they do, but at the same time, all the malefics should always be separated out from the benefics as natural benefits. It's very important. Okay. The I'm trying to think, so that is one important thing. And the Jupiter Venus, right? if Sun is here, Mercury is here, and a Jupiter and Venus is here, or aspecting them together, or a conjunction with Venus and Mercury here, that's a very good placement stuff. Okay, very good placement, because it gives a lot of intelligence, right? Street smart intelligence without the book, and it also gives something like commanding power, okay, through this process. Very good position it will give you. But always remember, whatever planets we're talking about, that Mahadasa has to come. If that Mahadasa doesn't come, sometimes it means nothing, okay? So you have to understand whether you're undergoing the Mahadasa, okay? Now we'll look at Jupiter. I'm just waiting for the flight to go. It's gone. Okay, great. Now, after Mercury, Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, see, this is not a good placement, right? Not a good placement. Mercury does not consider Jupiter as its enemy at all. Okay, Mercury is fine with Jupiter. It is just that Jupiter doesn't feel comfortable with Mercury. Okay, so it's not a good placement. But one good thing is Jupiter sitting here has the ability to aspect its own house Sagittarius, which is a big blessing because Jupiter will start getting strength in by sitting here, right? Just the same way you are going and sitting in a restaurant and having food, double-minded to know whether your car is parked in a safe spot or towed or in a bad neighborhood versus you're having a restaurant, you're having a food in a restaurant which is a car parked opposite exactly in front of your eyesight. You're always comfortable, right? So planets' ability to aspect their own house gives strength to the planet. So something important to note as well. Okay, now you have to understand which ascendant, what Jupiter is, what Mercury is, etc., right? So for example, for a Leo ascendant, let's take Jupiter sitting in 11th house as Gemini. Okay, it's not a bad placement at all. Okay, even though of all these things, because if Mercury is placed well, let's say for a Leo ascendant, Mercury is placed in Virgo, just an example. Okay, now Mercury is placed in the Kendra to Jupiter. Mercury is placed in the second house, which is own house, Muratrikona, exalted, etc. Okay, and Jupiter sitting in the 11th, which is a Labasthana, has the ability to aspect its own house, which is the fifth house, and the fifth house is nothing but a Purva Punya Sthana. Okay, so which is very important, right? Sitting in the 11th, so that is so important, right? All the more important. And Jupiter also aspects the third house, sitting in the 11th here, right? So in the by aspecting the third house, which is the effort, right? So they call it as Vira Dhira Parakrama, right? So that's the effect of the third house here, so which is very important, right? So and it also aspects the fifth, and it also aspects the seventh here, right, to the ninth aspect. So that's still a beautiful uh with the seventh aspect also. It's a big blessing, especially like a planet like Jupiter. Okay, now the only thing what I would say is, okay, Jupiter sometimes alone should not be here. Okay, okay, as in with another good benefic aspect is good. If Jupiter alone is here, you have to see which ascendant he is, especially for the, I would say, for a Gemini ascendant or for Virgo ascendant. Jupiter here alone is not a good position. Okay, for other ascendants it's okay, only for Virgo as well as for Gemini, right? So that is one important thing, right? Other ascendants fine, but do understand that. And importantly, Jupiter should not be with Saturn, aspected Saturn neutral, or Jupiter should not be with Rahu. Jupiter with Ketu also, it's okay, not bad. Okay, but Rahu is a problem, and Rahu does very bad here. Okay, then you have Venus. Okay, Venus, what happens is Venus is a very good position. And every time when you always check Venus in Gemini or Venus in Virgo, etc., check Mercury position, because usually they're always together. The Sun, Moon, the Sun, Mercury, and the Venus. So you should see if there is any Parivardhana yoga here, right? Sometimes Venus, Mercury might be sitting in Taurus, Venus will be sitting in Gemini. So there is exchange of houses here. Okay. So again, uh, Venus is very comfortable. It's his very good friend here, right? And look at from astronomical perspective as well. Sun, Mercury, Venus, they are very close to each other. So the energies are very, very transferable. The energies are very similar. and the energies are more aligned in a very good way for them. Okay, that's very important. So Venus gives you a lot of pleasure, enjoyment. Okay, and with Mercury, if suppose Mercury is here, right, gives you the thought process, the logic, the brain, the intelligence. Not, I'm not talking about the studies though, right? Now, so it's a combination of both. Now, what is important is that Saturn Rahu should be away from this house, this aspect here. Okay, Saturn Rahu will be a deal breaker here, otherwise, to make a lot of things make or break kind of a thing. But Venus, can be with Mars. It's not bad, but Venus will dignify Mars. Venus may lose a little bit of its strength as well. Okay, and so that is very important to know as well. So this house is also there is a lot of sexual energy in this house, hidden things, sexual energies. So Venus and Mars here sometimes gives a lot of, I would say, the sexual energy, puts a lot of sexual energy as well, especially in the third house. Okay, being the natural third house here as well. And if it's an Aries ascendant, you will also see that as well typically. But if Jupiter aspects it, it's a big different case. Now, if Saturn aspects it, then it's very bad. If Venus and Mars are here, it's not good. Okay. Um, I'm trying to think. So Rahu should not also be here with Venus and Mars. That's also bad. So we have finished five planets, I think, right? Or no, four I have finished, right? Or four plus one, five, or yeah, five plus one, six we have finished rather. So the next one would be after Venus is what? Saturn, right? Saturn and the Rahu Ketu. Okay. So Saturn, right? Saturn is a very good position. Okay. It's a very good position because he's sitting in a friendly house. But again, he has to be alone. You'll have to see whether it's like 3, 6, 10, 11, because malefics do very well in 3, 6, 10, 11. So like Mars, like Saturn, you'll have to see here as Saturn as well. Then its Upachaya houses are always better. And then, Saturn has to be dignified if Saturn really has to do well. Okay, be between Jupiter and Venus aspect. Saturn has to be dignified. Okay, but do check which house it is, right? So again, if this is a trinal house, it is not good for Saturn. Trinal house would be, let's say, Capricorn ascendant, right? A Capricorn ascendant, this will be a trinal house coming in the um did I say, sorry, Aquarius ascendant. This would be coming in the fifth house in Gemini. So Saturn placement is very bad here, very bad. Okay, same thing for I would say next is Libra ascendant. Okay, it comes in the ninth house, again not good. Okay, so you don't want to have fifth and ninth houses malefics. You don't want to have, right? Then if Saturn has to be here, then it has to be completely dignified with the fifth aspect of Jupiter. Okay, or an exchange with or an exchange, let's say, with Mercury or something, that it goes back to the exchange of houses. Otherwise, Saturn won't do good, if unlike if it's not 3, 6, 10, 11, or without an aspect of Jupiter. Do understand also, every time I say Saturn and malefic planets, especially Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, the Jupiter comes into play. Astronomically, look at it in the zodiac or in the Milky Way or up in the sky, right? After Jupiter, you have Saturn. So Jupiter energy can control Saturn very well because of the astronomical units and the distance as well. Okay, so that is also important from an astronomical perspective. Yeah. The next one is you have Rahu. I don't consider this a good position. I know a few of the books would say whatever it is. I personally don't, and I leave it up to you guys. Okay, if Rahu is here, right? So imagine this. Okay, this is not what I said earlier. Virgo is all about book and education, and Gemini is street smart. So Rahu here will actually spoil this person further in terms of not studying, doing anything, finding wrong ways to do things and all those things, right? But if Rahu is here, that means that there has to be an aspect of a Jupiter or a Venus, okay? If Rahu has to do well. But if Saturn or Mars comes into play, then it's a big problem, okay? There is always this depth, diseases, disputes, lawsuits, all those things will come in when Rahu comes here, okay? Lot of loans, running away from different places, all those things are there, okay? And always you have to see, if any planet is here, check Mercury position. Where is Mercury? Because Mercury has to be with strength. Even if Rahu has to do well, other than the dignification of Jupiter, Mercury, if it goes and sits in Pisces, which is also a Kendra from here, but it's debilitated there, right? It's debilitated. So that's a big problem that way, right? It's a big problem. So do understand that Rahu doesn't do well. Okay, there are exceptions to when Rahu has to do well. Now Ketu, I would say it's okay. It's not that bad. Okay, it's kind of, you can call it neutral or however you want. It's just okay. Okay, and it gives you a lot of Ketu, because what happens is this house is also related somewhere to occult science, astrology, spirituality a little bit as well. So yoga, meditation, etc. This is also associated. So Ketu sits here, puts the person to think inward more. Okay, so research, R&D, intelligence, and all those kind of things. Ketu takes it a very different way, right? A lot of research work is associated with Ketu sitting here. Okay, but if Ketu has to do really well, then Jupiter and Venus aspect has to be here. Again, Saturn, Mars, absolutely no. Even Mars, I've always said, Sanivat Rahu Kujavat Ketu, but Mars should not aspect Ketu at all here. Okay, that's very important. Jupiter Venus aspect is good, and Mercury exaltation or Mercury sitting in the other house is fine. Okay, so that's important as well with Ketu, and being important as Mercury, important thing as we touch Gemini, we finish, we're almost done. But as I want to just highlight a couple of points. One is Mercury does very well in trines, right? Mercury gets Digbala in the first house, directional strength, like Jupiter. Mercury does very well in the trines, 159, okay? Trines, being a benefic. Mercury can do well in a Kendra, okay? Provided he's not he doesn't have Kendra Adipati dosha, provided he should not own Kendra also. Remember that, especially for the dual ascendants, because that's always the challenge, right? And Mercury can be with Venus or even with Jupiter. It's not a problem, right? Because end of the day, if they're placed in a good house where both of them get the strength, then it's fine. So, for example, Taurus, let's take an example, Taurus ascendant. Okay, Mercury and Jupiter are sitting in Leo, right? Now Leo house is a very interesting house. Okay, and when we do about Leo, I will talk in more about it. Leo is a very interesting house, one should not forget, in the Kalpurush, right, in the zodiac. Why? Because in Leo you have Jupiter, who does extremely well. It comes under what is called the ring of Jupiter. And then what happens is, Mars does very well in Leo. Okay. And third planet which does extremely well, other than these two team A planets, is Mercury. Okay. Even more than Moon. Okay. Moon has this Gandanta issue there. Okay. But more than Moon, being coming from team A, right? Now, Sun, of course, will do well in Leo, right? It's its own house. So keep Sun aside for a minute. But Mercury does extremely well in Leo. Okay, coming from a team B side. Okay, so do understand that Leo has got that energy, and when we do the Leo thing, we will definitely discuss that as well. But yeah, so the 159 axis, the Kendra houses are fine, or the 211 houses are also fine. In many books, if you read Mercury, they say Mercury does very well in the eighth house, right? Eighth house Mercury is still good, they say that. Okay, so eighth house Mercury is not that bad. An eighth house, you want to have planets as far as empty. If at all planets in eighth house are there, it has to be a benefic, like a Jupiter or a Venus or a Mercury. You don't want to have malefics. Rahu, Saturn, Mars, all in the eighth is a problem. Even if it's the own house, I don't care. It's a problem. Okay. The only way is, if those planets are there, they have to be completely dignified somehow. Okay, so that is very important to note as well. And the house owner has to be placed very well, always, right? So I think I'm done, and I'm seeing hi, Lalita. Hi, I see you joined as well. Hi, and hi, hi, Kushita. So you can go ahead. I'm done, and we can open up for questions. Yeah, thank you. I think you guys are all in mute. Lalita, Kushita, everybody's in mute. Yeah.
Sorry, Srini, I have there's a little background noise here,
No,
so
no
I don't know.
problem. I just said hi. No problem. Kushita, are you there?
Srini,
Nakshatra.
I'm there. I just my phone is being charged in a corner, so I'm not right next to my phone because
Okay, okay.
Q and A
So
is not started yet.
yeah, yeah. So I'm done. I'm done. We can start the Q&A session now,
Okay,
or we can go ahead.
So I,
Thank you.
go ahead, Lalit.
so so there was a question yesterday, Srini, in the boot camp room,
Okay.
and so I was thinking about that, and it's basically a general question, but I think it's applicable to Mercury specific, also Gemini also. Said, can we do nakshatra parivardhan for Mercury rule nakshatras, or how does parivardhan? How does that work? It basically means that energies are exchanged, right?
Correct, correct. See,
Even
energies are
within enemies.
correct, correct. Energies are exchanged, but do understand when you're slicing and dyeing nakshatra parivardhana, okay, you cannot take it a complete way of parivardhana, like house parivardhana. So let me explain why. Okay, in a house parivardhana, I'll just give an example. Mercury is sitting in Taurus, Venus is sitting in Gemini. Very good parivardhana here, right? Pakka, this and this, right? Beautiful parivardhana now. What happens in the nakshatra thing, right? Nakshatra is a way inner energy. So see, the more you see outward and outward and outward, you can actually crack the code. It's easy to do it. The more deeper you go, the exchange doesn't become the way how you think it is, right? So for example, anytime you have an infection in your body, outside the body skin, it's easy to crack, and skin infection, everything is easy to crack and figure out. The more you go inside your body, you need x-ray, you need CT scan, whatever, MRI, all those things comes into play. So this nakshatra energy is way deeper, okay, to look at this way of doing it. So I stay away from that. That's my personal thing. Okay, number two, now what happens is, even though it's a parivardhana exchange, okay, now in the Navamsha, it goes to a different pada now. So you have to break that also next. So it's like peeling an onion layer after layer after layer to go into the center part. You're not going to go, you can't crack that code easily. At least I have not, and I don't want to go that route. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because of this, because what happens is, it is not staying in the same thing, it is going to the whole things. So it is changing different, I would say, how should I say, different Navamsha, right? That itself changes the whole ball game here. Okay, so that's what I would say, that you have to be very careful in this process when you look at Nakshatra Parivardhana. Okay, it's too much of inner energy.
I also don't understand the point of nakshatra navamsa. Navamsa doesn't have nakshatra, right? I mean, like,
Correct, correct,
what's the
correct.
point of?
I don't know. So a lot of people do a lot of things. I really don't know. A lot of people, oh, see, I have this Nakshatra Parivardhana, what will happen? No, no, I don't. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of things are being diluted or done whatever way it is. So I don't know, to be honest. I don't have an answer. If they want to do it, they can do it. There are a lot of things which are being done differently. I just don't have an answer.
I think I feel like because we have all the software these days, we have easier information at our fingertips. There's like more data now.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
we're trying to figure out ways to make use of it, but I don't know how to interpret a lot of that.
No, you don't need to go there. You don't need to go that way. And other way is also, what happens is people were coming up with new rules. A lot of new rules are being come up with randomly. So so there are a lot of rules coming with randomly. So yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Shri.
important.
I was
You're
also
welcome.
I was also thinking of using your Team A, Team B, and what you do is like take a piece of paper, put all Team A on one side and Team B on one side for planets, houses, planets, rashis, and nakshatras.
Nakshatras.
So
Correct.
that's like a good sheet to write and put up in the wall, right?
Absolutely right. So 15 in the left and 12 in the right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
You
I think
can
that
you can do
that
that.
would make it easier to make quick calculations in
It
the mind.
does. It does. It does.
Yeah,
It
I'm gonna say that in today's boot camp today.
it's all yours. Go ahead. It's something. No, it's something. I think. See, it is not that. It's there. If you read the book, you decode it. We know the mythological story. You just have to crack the code. And then when you know it, you know the first house, fifth house, and the ninth house. Trinal energy is there in these things. And you know the similar energies also come into play. So it's always there, So
I
that is
think
very important.
there's a lot to figure out with just the basic houses, rashis, nakshatras itself, without going into complicated yogas and parivartans
Agreed.
and all that stuff.
Totally agreed, right? You don't, that's what I'm saying, right? Already there are so many things, and you're just making it more complicated now, right? You're just making it too complicated by doing more and more complications with this, and you're not going to go. I feel personally, you may not go anywhere with this.
I agree. I agree.
Or I don't know what you're trying to achieve in this process. I don't know. So
I agree.
that's the whole thing, so it's a
Because
hit or a miss kind of a thing.
people ask me questions that I haven't even thought of before, so it's like kind of
Very innovative. Innovative. Who knows, some of these people who don't ask questions also come up with new ideas and new techniques, which is I don't know, so it's beyond me. So as you probably rightly said, that today, you don't need to calculate all the navamsha, the vimshottari dasa, everything, right? In those days, you have to do everything, so you are not able to think anything outside much. Now,
yeah, we have
everything is
so
done by
much data
software.
now. Yeah, we are able to get it at our fingertips. Very
Exactly.
complicated calculations that easily available at the touch of a button.
Exactly, right? So that's a
But we don't
challenge
know
one
what to
way,
do with
right?
it.
That's a challenge, right? So, yeah,
Thank you, Srini.
no problem. There is a very, so don't, I hope you're not going, because I'm just looking at, see, give me 1 minute. So, we is here. I want to bring we to the stage for a minute for a question from yesterday to discuss. So,
Hi,
hi,
Srini.
we, did I pull you
Hi.
up in the wrong time?
No, no, no. It's okay.
Okay. So there was a very interesting question yesterday coming from V, right? So maybe I think I said we'll discuss it, and we followed up offline as well. So we why don't you bring up the question today for discussion as well, so that we can clarify to people who were there yesterday, and people who were not yesterday also, we can discuss that as well, the question.
Yeah, so I was asking about eating meat,
Okay.
how, if it's maybe inauspicious or maybe not the right thing to do.
Correct.
But in Parashara's book, it says that, we can offer rice and meat to the grahas.
Correct.
But I don't know
Okay.
what you made of it, Srini.
Okay, okay. So this is a great thing, right? So, so we will do the book reading and we'll clarify. But in the book which we have, you have to go to page number 253. Okay. So hear this out carefully. The meat is only for one graha. Okay, and that one graha is Rahu. Is a demon. Okay. We
So
Doesn't, but didn't, okay, but it says if you want to appease Surya
okay,
and the
okay,
other nine,
okay, okay. Other eight
may
grahas. There are total
the
nine,
other
right?
eight grahas, right,
I,
right, right.
Okay. So then
And
what happens is, go ahead.
so the way I read it is that it's kind of coming off in a context of as a cooked substance.
Correct, correct. So, but it is given for the nine planets. So, starting from Sun. For Sun, you have to break it down this way. Okay, Sun is rice cooked with jaggery. Okay, Moon, rice cooked in milk. Okay, the third one is, so Sun, Moon. So Sun, Moon. You have the next one is what? Mars, right? Havishya. The next one is Mercury, paddy cooked in milk, curd and rice. Okay, sorry, Mari paddy cooked in milk. The next one is curd and rice. The next one is rice and ghee. The one for which is rice and ghee is with for this one, Venus. And then rice cooked with powder of sesame seeds, which for Saturn. Rice cooked with meat is for Rahu. Rice cooked with cereals is for Ketu.
so Srini, actually, something similar like this also appears in, but I don't think it refers to meat. But something similar is in Lalita Sahasranamam also, where
So
they offer a different kind of rice every day based on the chakras, but that's only
yes,
7. Like it's
this
yellow
is
rice,
right,
hari.
right, right, right. That's for 7 planets for 7 days.
But I've also heard from, I don't remember where I heard it. I remember reading in a video, hearing in a video somewhere online that boar meat is for Rahu and fish is for Ketu.
Correct, correct. Varaha, right? Varaha
Yeah.
avatar, right? Varaha and Mean avatar. Correct, correct. So what they did in the past was they were also doing sacrifices. Okay, they were doing sacrifices for appeasing these planets. Okay, and we to your question, Rahu comes from a demon thing, right? Rahu is a demon, asura, right? And in those days these asuras were eating meat. He got the status of a planet, that's all, period. But end of the day he's got that rakshasa nature of the demonic nature, and he likes that. Okay, so it is only for that planet, it's only for Rahu. That is the reason, I keep on saying,
Srini,
avoid
do you
where
know what is the Sanskrit word that is used there in the
I
page?
have no, I don't have the Sanskrit word here. I can go and check the Sanskrit word and I can tell you that. I don't
Yeah,
have
if you
that
can
word in
just
front of me.
send me, if you can
Yeah.
send me the screenshot, I
Okay,
will look it up.
you want to check the
But,
translation? Absolutely, please go ahead,
so,
go ahead.
but
Yeah,
but on that note, I have to excuse myself now because I have the Hanuman Chalisa room.
I
I'll be
understood,
back
I understood.
as soon as
Go ahead,
it's over.
no problem, go ahead. Yeah, thank you. So the way I see it is only it's for the Rahu, for the demon energy, and Rahu's always this exception. Rahu is always everywhere. I kind of say it right. Rahu is always when you run a Rahu Mahadasa, you will automatically pull blue. But just because you run Jupiter Mahadasa, you'll be with yellow. Not really. But Rahu Mahadasa comes, it will pull you with blue stuff without you knowing it. Okay. When somebody has to point, then only you will realize because that is Rahu. So in those days, they were doing sacrificing animals also, right? And those were the means for gaining things as well. So there were a lot of things happening. It was not that those days was a perfect and everything, right? Things were also happening, things even before when you start a war in those days, even before Mahabharat war started, they were giving sacrifice of animals. Okay, that was a very important thing, right? Sacrifice of animal to peace the gods and everybody, right? At a certain timing was picked, and that time usually was done was what Abhijit, um, with an Abhijit Muhurta, or what we call it, or Abhijit Nakshatra was the one which was used. So there were things which was done, but we, from what I know, that Rahu gets pieced in that process. Okay, that's what I know. But we'll check for the translation as well. But this is the information I have. It is only for Rahu, not for anybody else. Okay,
Okay, thank you, Srini.
no problem. It's only for Rahu. So it can be a meat sacrifice also because Rahu is the Varaha or the boar thing, right? And Ketu is always with fish. So Rahu has got that boar energy. Okay, but thank you for asking as well. No problem. I just thought I owe you. But if you see the next line, okay, the same thing when what you sent me, look at line 25, right? The next one was 25. Parashara also says to appease sun and the 9 grahas, you can give charity in cow with calf, conch, bullock, gold, robes, horse, black cow, weapons made of iron, and goat. Did you see that?
I did, and I actually wanted to ask you about that too, Srini. So this was written a long, long, long time ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how would you translate that as, nowadays? Like, do you still have to give like a goat or a cow in charity, or
No,
can
you can, you still can, you still can, because goat is always associated with this Ketu energy here, right? Ketu energy is goat is associated, so you can give. But there are other ways to do also charity, right? It's not only about animals here, right? So I've given a lot of remedies around it as well, but there are other ways to do it as well. You don't need to follow only this. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. But thanks for asking me. I just thought I'll follow up from yesterday. All right, Kushita, I'm done. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Srini. I'm gonna go to Marjorie and Scarlett first. Hi, Marjorie. Do you have any questions or anything to add?
No, I just wanted to ask Srini. I know that you had mentioned probably before, but just going over anything, any remedies. If you do have, let's say, I know you said second is Gemini and Virgo is actually exalted at 15 degrees. But is there any way you can improve if you really wanted to do something? You know, if it's it's with malefics.
So it's the remedies about Mercury, right? Remedies about Mercury means Wednesday becomes a very important day, and people who are also undergoing Mercury Mahadasa, right? Also undergoing Mercury Mahadasa, or or very important, let's say Moon in Gemini and all those things, right? But Mercury Mahadasa, the most important thing is, or any planet sitting in Gemini running the Mahadasa. That's the way I would break it down. So, so I'll give an example. One, Mercury Mahadasa. Okay, very simple. Mercury can be anywhere in the house. 12 houses, Mercury Mahadasa. That is one. Another one is, let's say you are having Saturn, and Saturn is sitting in the house of Gemini, and you are undergoing Saturn Mahadasa. Okay, or third example, you are having Jupiter sitting in Gemini and running Jupiter Mahadasa. So Gemini also is activated here, right, in this process. So those are the remedies, right? The remedies are, number one, okay, Wednesday becomes a very important day in this process, right? So make sure to be very clean on a Wednesday, right? No meat, no seafood, no liquor, no sex, all those things you would avoid, okay? Do a lot of charity things on a Wednesday. Educational institutions, teaching people, volunteering, whatever you can do, freelancing, helping people, right? You can give green gram is like a gram which is used for cooking as well, which you can give donation on a Wednesday. Okay, then you have prayers and God also you can pray with. Becomes a very important deity. Vishnu, right? Vishnu Balaji becomes very important for Mercury here, and then you also can listen, chant Vishnu Sahasranama, which is very important on a Wednesday, right? The other important thing is eating green vegetables. Eating green vegetables on a Wednesday is very good. Okay. The next one is wearing green color to support that energy on a Wednesday is good. The next one is, if you're buying people food or donating food, buy green stuff and green vegetables, green stuff, right? Green colored food, anything green gram, do that on a Wednesday. So these are the remedies I would say for this, Marjorie. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marjorie. Hi, Scarlett.
Hello. I don't have any questions, but I'll share as I'm listening. I just harvested all the green peas from my garden and I'm sitting shelling them, and so that's I try and always have a green vegetable on this day. Thank you. I'm just
Thanks, Scarlett. Okay, so before I go to Satish, I'm going to reset the room. We are taking one question at a time. So if you have a second question, please wait. We'll come back to you. Don't leave the room. We also have a hard stop at 8:45 p.m. Central Time, so that's less than an hour from now, almost an hour. So just keep in mind that. So please think through your questions and ask a question, sort of hopefully without follow-ups. If you do, please wait. Also, we are not recording this session, despite the title of the room. So yeah, just to let you know, just to save you the trouble of contacting either of us for a recording. Also, please do not share any personal details. We're not doing any personal chart readings. So we are going in PTR order. Hi, Satish.
Hello, Pushita. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Hello, Srini.
Hi,
So
Sati.
my question is, like, if there is, I have heard that if there is any malefic planet conjunction with this Mercury, so it might get some skin problem. But what I want to understand is that does it only happens when there are planet conjunction, or does it also happens when the Gemini house is affected with kind of a aspect, or the malefic planet is in that particular house? So how does it work? differently from planet conjunction and planet in some house?
See, good question. So conjunction aspect also is there, especially when you see a Mars aspecting Mercury. Okay, Mars aspecting with Mercury or Mars conjuncting Mercury has an issue with skin disease. Okay, number one. Number one. So Mars conjunction, Mars aspecting Mercury. Okay, number one. Number two is if you look at it, right? You'll have to see for each house, each ascendant, what is Gemini, what is Virgo, right? Because if 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 Virgo or Gemini comes as a sixth lord, sixth house, right? So Aries ascendant, Virgo becomes sixth. Okay, Aquarius ascendant, right? Not Aquarius, my mistake. Capricorn ascendant, you will have this one coming as sixth one. Gemini as the sixth, right? So Mercury becomes the sixth lord, sixth owner for these two ascendants, right? So somewhere you will see that there is a chance of for them to have skin disease. Okay. Other than the other thing I told you, Mercury being aspected by Mars. Even with Ketu is there, you would see a similar thing as well, other than Mars. Okay, Mercury Ketu conjunction. Okay, but Mercury aspected conjunct with Mars definitely gets skin issues. Okay,
So if there is Rahu or Ketu itself in Gemini and Mercury is somewhere at a good place, then
so again, as I said earlier, right, you'll have to see which house it is. Okay, you see, you'll have to see whether it's a sixth house or it's a sixth house kind of a thing, right? Or that is what you have to see whether Gemini Virgo coming into the sixth house. Now now Ketu is sitting in Gemini, Mercury sitting somewhere. You'll have to go and check. Even if he's placed well, you have to check on the aspect on Ketu and the aspect on Mercury, because Rahu Ketu are shadow nodes. So if they are aspecting, if a malefic planet like Mars is aspecting the Gemini house, or aspecting Mercury, there are skin infections possible. Okay.
okay, I got my answer. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Satish. Hi, Sanjay.
Yeah, good point. Hello.
Hi, hi.
We
Hello.
can hear you,
Uh,
but if you can speak
yeah,
a little louder, that will be better.
can we ask any personal question?
Do you have a
No
question,
personal
Sanjay?
questions.
No, but
No
no
personal
personal.
Ji?
Yeah, no
questions.
personal chats.
Okay, no personal chats. So actually, I want to know about the conjunction between Shukra, Venus, and Mercury. What will give the result if this stands in 11th house?
So Venus and Mercury is very good, right? It's a very good conjunction, depending on which house it is, right? What so 11th house is house of gains, but you
11th
need
house
to
is
know also which.
Tula, Libra,
So that's very good,
Libra.
right? So yeah, yeah. So 11th house. So 11th house means Sagittarius ascendant here, or Sagittarius ascendant
Yeah,
Venus,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Venus' own house, Mulatrikona house, and Mercury is very happy there in the 11th. And usually you can put these planets in the 11th here because they are in a friendly status, right? Now, depending on who is strong between the two here, okay, in terms of degrees, right? Because see, 10th house is profession. So for a Sagittarius ascendant, the 10th lord is Mercury, okay, and the 7th lord is Mercury, sitting in the 11th with the two things, right? There are multiple things involved in this. Okay, one is from a professional standpoint. Okay, from a professional standpoint, it can, if Mercury is very strong here, right, based on degrees and Navamsha placement, that person can go into communication, software, okay, technology, etc., communication software, technology, counseling, all those things. If Venus is very strong, it pulls into entertainment industry. Okay, entertainment industry, creative stuff, art stuff, all those things. One. in a personal life things, it can delay the marriage and can give you a second marriage. Those are the two things I would say between this. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Actually, I got married when I was 42 years old, and I'm working in media as a director and cinematographer.
So we don't want personal information, but thank you though. Thank you for acknowledging. But it gives a little bit late marriage here, right? It gives
Yeah.
late marriage, and it also how should I say yeah, it gives late marriage, but it gives slow and steady thing. But depending on, because see, Mercury is the 10th house, 10th lord owner here. So the degrees would actually signify who is stronger between the two, even though Venus is stronger automatically, being in the 11th Libra, most Capricorn house, Venus
Shrini, you're
generally
breaking up.
strong here. Okay.
Shrini, you're
Now Venus
breaking up.
also owns the 6th house for. I'm walking and talking. Sorry. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes, sir.
into a place. Sorry, I was just.
No, no, now
Is it
it's
okay now?
back. Hopefully.
1 minute. Sorry, 1 minute. Is it okay now? Is it okay? Is it
Yeah.
better?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is it better? No. Okay. Sorry. So sixth house is also house of profession. Okay. Sixth house is also house of profession. So what happens is Venus owning the sixth house as well, and the 11th house. And the 11th house is nothing but, if you look at, it's a sixth to sixth house. Okay. 11th house is six to six. So Venus pulls you a lot in this direction. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of what it is. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
You're
Sanjay.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I really have to plug this in again. I mean, guys, we keep on telling you. I think we must have told you 1,000 times. Please, no personal charts. We want to help you. Yes, you talk about vague details, but then you come and say that this is my chart and I got married at a certain age. This is, I mean, there are privacy issues, but I think what I want to really stress is that you don't want to open up your karmic energy on a Rahuvian platform like this. Please respect your own charts. That's what I'm trying to say. Please do not come here and start sharing personal details. Like I'm actually now getting frustrated. How many times do I have to
Sorry,
tell
yeah.
this to people?
So I'm also, I apologize as well, Pushita. My mistake. I shouldn't hope. I just start going with the flow. But yes, you're right. And guys, please even say, I know somebody, this person. What do you think? Put it up that way rather than saying it's my chart. And this person, this is what happened. So that would be really helpful rather than really opening it up as your chart. Yeah, please. So thank you. Sorry, my apologies as well, Kushita. Sorry.
Uh, okay, so hi V, do you have a question?
No, no, I don't.
I
I'm just
believe
listening.
Hannah is next.
Hi Thana, thanks.
Hi, Kushita, Majri, Scarlett, Chini. Chini, I just have a question. Rahu is said to be exalted in Rohini, and some do subscribe to the idea of Rahu being exalted in the third pada of Rohini, which directly goes to Gemini in Navamsha. So it kind of confusing to me. That's the reason why, because you mentioned that in a placement wise, are you saying Gemini is not good because of the Navamsha placement that it goes to, or why?
No. So first of all, I know Rahu is exalted in Taurus, and Rahu is exalted because also he was born in the nakshatra of Rohini. Okay, and we were talking about even yesterday also the Arohanam and Avarohanam. The whole thing comes in Rohini also, which has got that energy of Rahu there. Okay, so that's the thing I know. Now, what I don't know, right? What I don't know is what is the pada of Rahu in that. I don't know that. I don't know that. Okay. So I don't think I have read any books to give me the pada so far. Okay. So I
Yeah,
don't. Okay,
Yeah,
number
no
one.
books gives the pada for any of the placements.
Yeah. For moon and all, it's there. Moon and all degrees and everything is there. So I don't know that. I'll have to probably recheck again if I would have missed anything or I don't recollect or something. That's true. Rahu does not do well in Gemini. It's got nothing to do with the Padatri here. Okay. Rahu does not do well in Gemini for few reasons. Okay. Number one. Number one is Gemini energy is a dual sign of air energy. Okay. Air energy. Rahu is a air planet. Think, okay, so Rahu is airy planet, but think Rahu as a snake for a minute. Okay. Think Rahu as a snake. And Gemini is air energy, right? Do you think a snake fly in the air?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So look at this. Rahu does very well in Taurus, ground sign. A snake can go in the ground, a snake can hide in the ground. Okay. You agree, right? Rahu does very well in Cancer. Okay. Now, Cancer is a watery sign, and you have seen water snakes as well. Okay. Okay. There's water snakes as well. So Rahu can go in that. Virgo, again, watery sign. I'm not water, dual sign here, dual sign. But if you look at it, it's a dual sign here, right? And then how should I break it
It's a
down?
earth to sign as
No,
well,
no,
and with
Earth
dual
and
sign,
correct.
so the
Earth
duality of
and dual,
Rahu works well.
correct. Duality of Rahu, Earth. And one more important thing is it is a natural sixth house here. So the most important is it's a natural sixth house where the 3, 6, 10, 11 comes in, right? That's where Rahu does very well here, Ketu does very well here. Okay. So this sign is very unique in the way how it is done, right? The dual nature comes very strongly in this process. Next, so this is done. The next come is Capricorn. Capricorn is also, even though it's a fixed sign, or sorry, it's a movable sign, it's a movable sign, it is a ground sign. Okay, it's fixed. No, I shouldn't say, how should I say? It's a movable ground sign. I shouldn't say fixed.
Rahu
Fixed
has
is
a
the
lot
wrong
of
word.
flexibility to move around on that ground as
Correct,
well. So
correct, correct. Then there is two energies of Jupiter houses, Sagittarius and Pisces. Okay, that's the important thing. Sagittarius and Pisces, you have the energy. Okay, so you have that energy which gives Rahu to move. So this is the way I break it down. Does that make sense, Tana?
yeah, it makes sense to me when you mention about the snake's comfortability on the ground and the water part. And one confirmation I'll give you is about the Ketu in Gemini. I know someone who have a Ketu goes to Gemini and Avamsha, and they're really crazy into research part of things.
They are really what?
They're really crazy about research things. Anything research related, they'll be so into it.
Yeah,
Anything that
research,
digging
research.
secrets and
Okay,
stuff.
research. Yeah. So Ketu is okay. Ketu is not bad. Ketu is fine. They go deeper, inner things and everything. So Ketu in that's what I said. Ketu in Gemini is fine. See, because Ketu is still a body. There is no thing, right? So Ketu is fine. So this is the way I break it down between movable, fixed, dual, and understand this thing. That's why I was trying to start the session to explain these rules for you guys to understand it.
Thank you so much, Sri. I actually, right now, it makes sense to me why you always talk about how Virgo is the best sign for Rahu. It actually makes sense to me now when you mention about the snake and the grounding part. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. You're the it's called Kanya Rahu, right? They call it as Kanya Rahu, and Kanya Rahu is an excellent position. Excellent position is Kanya Rahu. Okay, and 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 the fact is, what is interesting is where I have not said an uh, spoken unspoken logic or rational apart from this so far. I'll explain. Rahu, I always said this, but I'll say it again. I didn't say it now. Rahu does, we spoke about yesterday in the Nakshatra camp. Arohana, Avarohana. It's a Sanskrit word. North node, south node. Rahu will do very well in the first 6, 7 houses because being a north node. And that's why you see among the 6 or 7 houses, Rahu does well in Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Virgo. 4 houses it does well. Ketu will start doing only from Virgo, being the Avarohana. the south one. From Virgo it starts, and then goes to Scorpio, and then it goes to Aquarius. Okay, plus 2 Jupiter signs again. So you have 7 houses, Rahu does well. You have 5 houses, Ketu does well. So it's 7 plus 5 equal to 12. You complete the 12 houses through the shadow nodes. Okay. Now, what is also important, what I have not said so far is Mars, house Rahu does well, Aries, number 1. Okay. Next, Venus house, 1 house. Look at it, how it does. Mars house, 1 house. Venus house, 1 house, which is Taurus. Moon house, only 1 house. Mercury house, only 1 house. Saturn house, only 1 house. You see how Rahu's covered all these planets' houses here? Each of these planets, house except Sun, it's covered everything here. Okay? All these planets is covered. One house. Jupiter, 2. Jupiter is always an exception. Okay? Same thing. Ketu, look at it. Ketu starts from Mercury, then Mars, Saturn. Okay? So what you can see in Ketu's energy here is, right? It's because of the body, the bottom part. You have Mercury, which is dual nature, but otherwise it's got 2 Mars malefics, Mars and Saturn. And then what happens? You have 2 Jupiter houses again. So you see how it does well in one house only, not 2 houses. So sometimes people think, oh, Venus and Rahu are friends. So Rahu does very well in Taurus exalted, so you'll do also good in Libra. Not really. Not really. The energies are different. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense because the Karakatwa of each houses also differs, even though it ruled by the
Absolutely.
same planet as well.
See, Libra is a masculine house. Taurus is a feminine house. Libra is a movable house. Taurus is a fixed house. You see, all those things comes into play. Libra is a house where you have Saturn gets control over there with Venus, and Taurus is a house where Moon gets control with Rahu there. You see, okay, all right.
Sure. Thank you so much, Srini.
You're welcome. Sure, you're welcome.
Thanks, Tana. Hi, Ramya. Hi, Kishita. Hi, Shini. And hi, all.
Hi, hi.
My question is like you mentioned regarding the Mars and Mercury combination, which actually brings up some rare diseases like skin or nerve disorders and all. So, I just wanted to ask on, so if this combination happens in any of the house, any of the 12 zodiac houses, or like is it only for the specific houses from the ascendant that this combination should be in 6, 8, 12 only, like Dustanas, or it can be in any of the houses. Just the combination, conjunction is important, or even the specific houses, 6, 8, 12, like that is important.
Both are important, right? It all adds layer, Ramya. It all adds layer because see, when Mars aspects Mercury, Mars conjunct Mercury. Okay,
Mm.
when would you see the results? So when would you see the results? You would see the results in a Mahadasa of Mars or in a Mahadasa of Mercury or Antardasa of Mercury, Antardasa of Mars. That's one you would see.
Okay.
Okay, when it's associated with the 6th, 8th, or the 12th, especially 6th is very bad for the diseases and stuff. And when a planet sitting in another house aspecting the 6th, running a Mahadasa and all those things, you would treat the trigger happening further. It aggravates further. So it's all one step further. Okay.
Okay. So, do you mean to say that if it is sitting in any of the benefic houses, something like 5, 9, then all, it will not have that effect, or is it like how it is? Like it will not have the
So
effect
so
of it.
so no, in a benefit. So you don't say benefic, you say trinal houses, 159,
Huh.
etc. Right? 59
159.
houses, right? See, end of the day, Mars is still a malefic.
Yeah.
Okay, Mars is still a malefic, and you have to understand why do you get the skin disease. Okay, so let me explain first why you get the skin disease.
Okay.
Mars is associated with blood, and it's a red color sign. Positive. Okay, positive. Or I shouldn't say positive, it's negative. Okay, it's negative. It's a red color sign. Okay, what happens is Mercury is a green color sign. So look at the color of the day also, right? Color of the day also, you look at Mercury is green color. We're talking earlier today, green vegetables, green thing. So what happens? What happens in the signal? Every time when you get a red, you have to stop immediately.
Yeah.
Many times you get a green, you have to move,
Hmm.
right? The stop move happens. Now, what happens in the Mars versus this Mercury, Mars and Mercury aspect or a conjunction? What happens is Mars is very strong masculine energy with the so-called electromagnetic force, which goes and pushes the Mercury one, which is more mild and soft and very small thing. So what happens? It feeds the heat outside its layer, which forms as a reddish rash because of the Mars. See, the skin allergy will typically become reddish in color, which shows the Mars thing again. Okay.
Okay.
So the skin allergy shows the Mars thing. Now, what you may want to see is uh, that planet sitting in the nakshatras of Mars, Mercury also will give you similar things. So the nakshatras are Mrigashira, Chitra, Tanishta, right? You should not eliminate nakshatras also, right? Then you have the three nakshatras, Jyeshta, Revati, and
Ashlesha.
Ashlesha. Exactly. So that also you'll have to see if any planets are sitting there. That also can give you the skin allergies.
Okay. Okay. So you
I
mean
have
to say
seen,
that
I have seen, okay. So the way you can break it down by planets, so multiple combinations are there, right? One
okay.
combination is Mars putting aspect on Mercury. That's one
Okay.
combination here, which is Mars, Mercury. But another way to do is certain skin diseases or nakshatras, which can give you skin diseases. Okay, you can look at that way also. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now you will
Yeah.
have to know all the 9 planets, right? And which nakshatras they are placed. Because I can
Hmm.
tell you, I have seen which is it, Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada. So go check if there's planet in Uttara Bhadrapada. It can give you skin disease. Okay, all right.
Okay. Is it
Uh,
because it's a Saturn one to bring in the karmic one, or how's it?
no. So that is so. I'll have to wait. Let me finish. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, let me finish.
Sorry.
So that's okay. Mrigashira, I've seen skin disease. Okay, Mrigashira, I've skin disease one. Ashlesha, I've seen skin disease. Okay, Mrigashira, there's one more I know is I'm trying to think a higher level of skin disease. Purvashada gives you it's called epilepsy. I don't know if you want to call it a skin disease. And then there is Shravan Nakshatra, Shravana.
Hmm.
Okay,
But
so this is
Shravan
where
is not of Mercury of Mars, it's of Moon. So why involvement of it here?
okay. You asked the question, so why don't you think through this? No,
Okay,
Okay,
shall we
sorry, sorry. Okay, I'll take it.
shall we come back to Ramya?
yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
just go
sure.
to
Think through
Ashutosh.
this. Think through this. Yeah,
Thank you.
think through.
Hi, Ashutosh.
Hello. Can you give me 2 minutes? I'll catch you back. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Please give me 2 minutes. I'll catch you back.
Okay, Satish has a question. Satish, are you there, Satish? Okay, Srini, do you want to tackle Ramya's question before we move on to Ashutosh?
Sure, no problem. So Ramya, are you there? Let me see the phone if she's there. Okay.
Yeah, Srini.
So 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 see these nakshatras energies are a combination of multiple things happening. Okay. So the way you have to look at, right? So let's explain. Shravana Nakshatra. Okay. Shravana Nakshatra, moon is sitting in Saturn constellation. Saturn's house, rather, not constellation. Saturn's house, own constellation.
Hmm.
Now look at where in the Navamsha it's going to go. Okay. In the Navamsha.
Okay.
Just look at Navamsa, right? So Shravana Nakshatra. Pada 1 is in Aries. Mars energy comes in. Shravana
Mm.
Nakshatra, Pada 2 comes to Taurus.
Mm.
Shravana Pada 3, Mercury energy comes there.
Mm.
Okay?
Gemini.
Yes, exactly. Gemini. So there you go.
Oh yeah. I got it. Okay. So
Okay?
even okay, we are implying on it. Okay, cool. So the remedies would be for the Lord Vishnu, and will not have anything related to it.
Will what? So sorry, say the question again, please.
Sorry, the remedies for this kind of combination would be only medical assistance, or with, as you mentioned, worshipping Lord Vishnu. Other than this, we would not have anything else, I believe.
So for what? For what? Remedy for what?
When we have this kind of a combination,
What kind of combination? Sorry, which combination we're talking?
yeah, the same of Mars and Mercury.
So see, why do you want to, my question is, if you're undergoing Mars Mahadasa, Mercury Mahadasa, then you can see. If you're not undergoing Mars and Mercury, why are you worrying about it?
Okay, I have seen in one's horoscope on it, so that's why I thought of asking it.
No,
Um,
the remedy and all those things will always work based on what. So I'll give an example. Tomorrow you have a science exam, let's say math exam. So the remedy and all the things to be focused only for math. You don't want to do anything else. So your current
okay,
Mahadasa,
got it.
what you're running is what you have to focus. That's the most important thing.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay? You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ramya. Ashutosh, are you ready now?
Srini,
Okay.
just to add a thought on Miss Ramya's question here. But in general, I've noticed whenever you have Capricorn Aquarius, this person tend to have dry skin because of the Saturn energy, not
Correct.
even the nakshatra.
No, correct. It is there. You're absolutely correct. See, that's what I'm saying, right? You already have the Saturn energy, the first one. See, between Capricorn and Aquarius, Aquarius is more stronger than Capricorn.
Yeah, Aquarius, I noticed they have a lot of dry skin wherever, especially on
Correct.
their feet.
Correct. It is there. Correct. Because the Saturn energy is already there. It's very cold. Number one, it's a very cold planet and it's a very dry one. There is already that energy there. But you would not see much for the Uttarashada people, is all I'm trying to say. Because just take an example of Uttarashada, right? Uttarashada Pada 1 goes to Sagittarius. Pada 2 is Vargotama Capricorn. Pada 3 comes to Aquarius and Pada 4 to Pisces. Okay. The skin thing is always associated more with Mercury and Ketu here. Okay. Ketu in the past was associated with what do we call what is that thing? I forgot. Leprosy. Yeah, leprosy and all those things. Ketu was always associated in the past, right? So but to your point, yes, you are right. Saturn's energy on top gives it, but the aggravation happens through how it goes through the Navamsa here. You know,
Yeah, I've noticed
you
Uttarashara tend to have the sweaty kind of a hands and all, but the others all kind of intense, drying kind of a thing. Maybe it's the sun nakshatra or what, I'm not sure.
No, you see, Sun Nakshatra, see, Moon is a cold planet, right? Moon itself is a very cool planet. But Saturn makes it even more, see, like take a milk. You don't put milk in the freezer, okay? Milk is exact example. If I have to tell you, milk is Moon's energy, okay? You don't put milk in the freezer. You put it in the fridge. Milk loves, milk loves to be in the fridge, no problem. But the minute what happens, you put milk in the freezer, right? What happens? Now, same way what happens when moon goes to the Aquarius sun, because that's like a freezer cold, you see?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Shri.
No problem. But no, good point about, Saturn's thing as well, because Saturn absolutely, it starts with the Saturn energy straight away there, right? The whole thing is about the Shravana thing here, but it's also an unfortunate thing where it happens in Uttara Bhadrapada because again the Saturn energy comes in Uttara Bhadrapada to the nakshatra, even though it's Pisces, right? It's Pisces, it's Jupiter's sign.
Yeah, Uttar Bhadrapada, they tend to have a lot of skin issue, and interestingly, the tree linked to that nakshatra is Neem tree, which is the queen of skin in Ayurvedic. So I think
Yes.
maybe Uttar Pradesh native need to incorporate a neem in terms of their dryness or whatever
Neem
skin
and
issue they have.
turmeric. So it's neem and
Yeah,
turmeric, both neem and turmeric.
that's
Thanks, Thana. Ashutosh, we're coming back to you. Are you there?
Yes, thank you so much. Hello, Sirini.
Hi, Ashutosh.
Uh, I need to ask that Mercury sitting alone in second house of Scorpio Lagna. Mars aspects Mercury while being in 11th house. That it is sitting in number six. Uh, in Scorpio Lagna, Mercury is a lord of 8th house also. Being in second house, it aspects 8th house, right? Mercury is in Jupiter's house, where it is said that the Mercury feels good and poses good result. Scorpio does have Jyeshtha Nakshatra, and this is the Nakshatra of Mercury only, where Sun, Guru, and Ketu is located.
Sorry, you're putting too many things now. Too many
Yeah, yeah.
things.
Actually, the thing is, that is what I wanted to figure out.
Ashutosh, is this your personal chart?
Yes.
Srini, what do I do?
I tell me, I don't know. You tell me. I don't. This is. I don't know. I'm just paused here for the minute,
Srini,
so I'll leave it.
so Ashutosh, I think it's best you connect with Srini offline
Okay, nice. That would
because
be good.
I don't know if you've been to other sessions. I've like my voice is
No,
now
this is my
hoarse.
second day.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, I
I've just
understand. I totally understand.
just half an hour ago I reminded people not to come up with their personal charts. You don't want to
Okay,
open up your karmic energy in a room of 200 people,
very right,
right?
very right.
And
I
there are also
understand.
privacy
Totally
issues.
understand.
So please
Right,
understand and try and connect with Srini offline. Send him an email or
Def
whatever.
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll put at a very high level, right? Mercury doesn't do real. Mercury does very well in the Jupiter house only in Sagittarius. In Pisces, it does not because Pisces Mercury gets debilitated. Okay, number one, Pisces Mercury gets debilitated, which is also Jupiter house. Number two is the Jyeshtha Nakshatra all comes not in the house of in Jupiter. It comes in the house of Scorpio, right? Which is the
Yeah.
Mars house. So just to clarify, just thought I'll clarify these things. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Satish, can you hear
Thank you.
us?
Yes, am
Thank you.
I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to understand that if some kind of a planet like Mercury is, conjuncted or affected by a, malefic planet, so whom should we please? Should we make Mercury more powerful, or should we, please Rahu or something like that?
See, great question, right? First, you have to understand. You have to understand whether this person is team A or team B. Okay. For team B, you want Mercury to be strong. For surely Mercury to be strong. For team A, it's okay if Mercury goes with Rahu, right? Now Rahu will get dignified and Mercury will lose strength. But end of the day, you only want to strengthen up Mercury if you're going to undergo Mercury Mahadasa. Okay? If you're not undergoing Mercury Mahadasa and you're of team A, okay, and I'll say Sagittarius ascendant, okay, you don't want to strengthen up Mercury here. Why would you want to strengthen up Sagittarius ascendant and Mercury? For Mercury, you don't want to do that because it's team A and Mercury owns the seventh and the 10th. So you got to be very careful how you take this through the process. You see? Now, if you're undergoing Mercury Mahadasa, then what you may want to do is you want to look at Antardasa and see which Antardasa to strengthen up. So you have to study some of the chart to do that. Okay? You got to be very careful. The energies, see, as I mentioned earlier, if you're of team A, the Sun, the Moon, the Mars, the Jupiter, the Ketu together, any ascendant, Sun, Moon, Mars, Jupiter ascendant, these planets are the planets who are going to help you first. The first time you call for help, these are the ones who will come and help you. So you want to strengthen these planets here, right? If you go and for a Cancer ascendant and for a Moon ascendant or Cancer ascendant, Leo ascendant, you don't want to go strengthen up Saturn, right? But what you may want to do is understand who's Mahadasa, how is he running, and do good things which Saturn would appreciate it for, right? But end of the day, you have to see who's Mahadasa. See, if you are not undergoing Mercury Mahadasa or anything, you don't want to break your head about it. If you're undergoing Mercury Mahadasa, then you have to see team A, team B, how it is, what it is, and everything. So you'll have to do like a cross section, dissection of the chart to figure it out. Does that make sense?
Yes, and if it is a Rahu Madasha, then we have to
See,
do
Rahu
reverse.
Mahadasa, Rahu Mahadasa, do reverse what? Strengthen Rahu? Don't want to strengthen Rahu. Don't want to strengthen Rahu, right? So, Rahu Mahadasa, you can do few things, right? If it's about Rahu, right? And interestingly, on Wednesday we're discussing about Rahu again, right? Very interesting. It always comes on Wednesday. Rahu's energy comes. You cannot block Rahu's energy. So, so if you're undergoing Rahu Mahadasa, see, Rahu always thinks the other side is green. Okay, again Mercury comes. Okay, Mercury comes, the other side is green. So what you want to do, I always say, is do multiple things. If you're studying one subject, try to study something else parallelly. Okay, so you will kind of satisfy the Rahu energy that way. If you're doing a full-time job, try to do something part-time job, freelancing, whatever it is, right? Do one more thing other than the thing. So Rahu will be very happy. Okay, I've already taken them that way. You have surrendered to Rahu. Okay, so you won't make you change things. Otherwise, what happens is somewhere during the Mahadasa of Rahu, he will make you change things. He'll make you change things unnecessarily, which are going well for you. Okay, so that is the way you have to look at it. Okay,
Great, got my answer. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Satish. Srini, you have 20 minutes left. I'm going to turn off hand raising in the next 2 minutes. So
Perfect.
anyone who has a question, now is the time. And I was also wondering, Marjorie, would you be able to handle the last 15-20 minutes if you're not busy?
Sure, no problem.
Sure,
Great.
if you can, Marjorie. Otherwise, I can
Sure,
manage. No
sure,
problem,
sure,
right?
no
No,
problem.
I'm around. I'm around. So, but in
Okay.
case
Thank
Marjorie
you.
is able to help, that'd be great.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Kushita. Thank you, Marjorie.
Uh, okay, so I think it's Gaurav now, and yeah, after that I hand it over to you, Marjorie.
Sure.
Thank you. Hi, Gaurav, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Very good morning to all of you. Shireen, Kushita, Mashri, everyone is there. Actually, I want to ask something about uh, it's about life. When I'm just thinking about astrology, is that really astrology work in somebody's life?
Gaurav, do you have a question about Gemini?
Uh, actually, don't want to exactly about Gemini, about its working.
So we're discussing Gemini today, and we're discussing Vedic astrology. So if you have questions about Gemini,
I got your point, but I'm actually wanna ask something about like जो मेरी नक्षत्र कुंडली है. Like I wanna ask something about this.
okay. So Gaurav, we are not doing any personal chart readings.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I listened the words few minutes ago.
so if you have any broad question, we are happy to help you.
Yeah, I'm
Shrini,
here to
are you?
listen.
Shrini, do you want to take non-Gemini questions also, or how do you want to do this?
So I don't want to go to chart, right? Because he's going to Nakshatra Kundali here, right? He's going to go to the chart again. Yeah. So
No,
I
if he
think we
has
are
a broad
not doing
question,
personal.
that's no. If he has a broad question, not
That's fine.
personal.
See, broad question is fine, depending on I don't want to go into this thing of answering if you know astrology works or not and all those things. If it doesn't work, you don't need to be in his room. Simple. You can just walk away, right? Simple as that. Why waste your energy on something to prove that you don't believe
सर
in,
सर
right?
सर सर इज इट बेटर कि मैं हिंदी में कुछ बताऊं? शायद वो मिसकम्युनिकेशन हो गया.
No, no, no. See,
Anyone
the thing
knows
is,
Hindi?
Okay,
No,
Srini,
no.
let
The
him
problem.
speak in Hindi. I'll translate it if that helps. I think he. Let's try
Okay,
it.
fine.
जी
Let's
ठीक है,
try it.
ठीक है, no problem.
या ओके, थैंक यू सो मच मैम। एक्चुअली क्या है कि पिछले काफ़ी सालों से अबाउट 2010 से मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि जो मैं ये मेरी भाग्य और कुंडली, क्योंकि मेरा अभी रिसेंट में डाइवोर्स हुआ है और मैं जिस भी काम
Gaurav,
को हाथ
एक
डाला था,
second,
एक
एक second,
सेकंड,
please. We don't,
हाँ हाँ,
please.
मैं
Can you
मैं
not
वही
disclose any
चीज़ बोल रहा
personal
हूँ।
details?
Stop.
ओके ओके ओके, लीव इट लीव इट। तो क्या है कि मैम मुझे एक बड़ा बिलीव है कि मेरी जिंदगी में जो ये नक्षत्र चेंज होते हैं वो बड़ा काम करते हैं। नाउ इन माय कुंडली यू कैन से दैट देयर इज राहु इन नाइन्थ।
एक second. Srini, can you mute yourself? There's
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, my.
Gaurav जी बताइए.
जी, तो मैम मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था बेसिकली जो ये बदली हैं चीजें उसके लिए क्या कुछ है, मतलब वही मैं जानना चाह रहा था।
मतलब आपका सवाल ये है कि आपके जीवन में कुछ घटनाएं घटी हैं और आपको जानना है कि इसका
जी
कारण क्या है.
जी जी जी।
ओके, तो ये थोड़ा पर्सनल चार्ट रीडिंग की तरफ जा रहा है, तो मैं आपको ये सजेस्ट करूँगी कि आप ऑफलाइन कनेक्ट कीजिए श्रीनी से, क्योंकि आप अगर बिना डिटेल्स बताए भी आप जो बात कर रहे हैं ना, इट्स गेटिंग अ लिटिल पर्सनल एंड यू डोंट देयर आर प्राइवेसी रीजंस, यू डोंट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दैट इन एन ओपन रूम.
देखिए मैम, मैं हो सकता है मेरी जो मैं पहली बार यहाँ पे आया हूँ और शायद प्रॉपर तरीके से वो चीज़ रख नहीं पा रहा हूँ जो आप भी समझ पा रहे हैं। कई बार होता है कि स्टेज फियर है, मैं चीज़ें रख नहीं पाया। इट्स नॉट अबाउट क्वेश्चनिंग द एस्ट्रोलॉजी एंड जेमिनी, इट्स अबाउट माय लाइफ बिकॉज द थिंग्स आर गेटिंग सेटल्ड एंड डाउन,
नहीं,
दैट्स
मैं
व्हाई आई एम
समझ
हियर।
रही हूँ, मैं समझ रही हूँ, लेकिन आप जो बात कर रहे हैं वो बहुत स्पेसिफिकली आपके खुद के चार्ट के बारे में बोल रहे हैं, और यहाँ पे हम जो क्वेश्चंस ले रहे हैं लोगों से, दे आर ऑल दीज आर पीपल हु माइट बी स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ एस्ट्रोलॉजी, ये ऑलरेडी वैदिक ज्योतिष शास्त्र पढ़ रहे हैं,
हाँ,
इनको थोड़ी बहुत
वो मैंने
समझ
अभी
है.
एक मैम को सुना, उन्होंने
हाँ,
बहुत ब्यूटीफुली
तो
रखा उन चीज़ों को।
एग्जैक्टली तो आपका जो सवाल है ये थोड़ा दूसरी दिशा में जा रहा है, हमें आपको मदद करनी है, ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन ये मंच उसके लिए नहीं है, तो आप प्लीज समझिए, बुरा मत मानिएगा, आप प्लीज
जी,
श्रीनी से
बिल्कुल
कनेक्ट
मैं
कीजिएगा.
समझता हूँ। एंड श्रीनी, वन मोर थिंग इज यू आर डूइंग ए फैबुलस वर्क। आई एम नॉट क्वेश्चनिंग अबाउट द एस्ट्रोलॉजी एंड ऑल, आई एम नॉट आस्किंग अबाउट द सेम थिंग, बट आई एम हियर टू रिजॉल्व द थिंग्स।
So Gaurav ji, this is the most that we can actually talk about your question today. So I encourage you, please connect with him offline, okay? And we'll move on to other people because now we have a lot more speakers. So over to you, Marjorie.
Hi everyone. So I guess everyone's heard no private, I guess not sharing any of your private information. I think we have Ray next. Ray, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Hello, Srini, Conchita.
Oh, Ray, we can't
Um,
hear you. There's like an echo behind you. I don't know.
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
You're better now, Ray.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I didn't have a detailed question. I'm always enjoying these rooms with Srini and Kushita hosting them, but I just wanted to ask, you're doing Gemini Ascendant today. Is there a specific day that you'll be doing Leo Ascendant and Capricorn Ascendant? Has that been scheduled yet, or is that still up in the air?
So it's still. Can you mute yourself? Yeah, highway. So it'll be done. Leo will be done. It's not just ascendant, right? It's everything about Leo. So it'll be done on Sunday, probably this Sunday, if not next Sunday. And Capricorn would come on a Saturday as well. So we'll work on that way. It's going to be scheduled soon. Yeah. So we are finished so far. Cancer, we are finished. Aries, we are finished. Gemini. So we have to finish Taurus also on a Friday. So we're planning them that way. It'll come next. Okay.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. And one more thing I just want to clarify. I just got an offline message which I was just seeing it right now. And So the thing is, Mercury also gives nervous disorders, nervous weakness. Okay, we are talking about Mercury and Mars here, which is different. Okay, so which is more of skin infection. But if Mercury is overall afflicted, debilitated, all those things, it does gives nervous weakness also. So I just thought I'll clarify that as well, because somebody asked me offline uh, about nervous weakness, and it is correct, but it is more of Mercury is associated with the nerves and the nerval, because nerves are always communication, right? Mercury is communication. So that is the logic. Okay, I just thought I would share that as well. Is that clear, Ramya? Is that clear as well?
Yeah.
So, because the question was about Mars and Mercury, right? That's different. But Mercury overall, it gets affected with anyhow, right? Other than even Mars, Saturn, Rahu, whatever it is, gives nervous disorders, nervous weakness as well. It's mainly because the nerves are the communicators in the body, just the way Mercury is a communicator as a planet. Okay, I thought I'll clarify this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. So next person we have Ratish.
Hey Marjorie, thank
Hi.
you.
Hi, how are
Hey
you?
Srini.
Hi, Ritesh. Hi.
Hey. You mentioned that Mars in Gemini was not a good placement, right? But could you
Correct.
elaborate a little bit, like what are the what happens when that's the case?
So if you keep Mars in Gemini, look at logically why it's not a good placement. First is Mars considers Mercury as his enemy. Mars is anything red in color, Mercury is green in color. Red and green are opposite side of the spectrum. Okay, so that's one, right? And what is the next important thing is green is move, red means stop. That is the thing. But look at Mars. If Mars sits in Gemini, okay, from Gemini, right? Look at his two houses. His Scorpio house, right, is sixth house. Okay, and and his Aries house is 11th house. Okay, now 6th and 11th are in a very awkward position. Mars has three aspects: 4th, 7th, and 8th. Mars cannot aspect its own house. And 6th and 11th, as per Parashara, are also bad, right? So, end of the day, right, Mars has the inability to aspect its own house. It starts losing strength and it's very uncomfortable, number one. And Gemini is also an uncomfortable point because Mars, even though sitting in an inimical house, is next moving towards the house of Cancer, which is debilitation. Okay, so it's like you feel uncomfortable, right? So even though it's his friend's house, he's happy still in Cancer, but he's debilitated. So there is a lot of panic for that Mars sitting in Gemini, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
See, it is always this, that any planet not able to aspect its own house. That is why if you see Moon in Capricorn, even though it's a Saturn house is bad position, it's still somewhat okay than Moon in Aquarius, because Moon in Aquarius is very cold and frozen thing, and it's almost sitting in the sixth, eighth axis to its own house. You see? From Aquarius, Cancer is the sixth house, and from Cancer, Aquarius is the eighth house. It's a sixth, eighth axis. You see? So in Capricorn, it's 1 7. So Moon has the ability, and Moon only has seventh aspect. So Moon has the ability to aspect its own house sitting in Capricorn on Cancer, which is a big blessing for the Moon. You see the difference now?
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense, Srini. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ratish. Okay, so we have Priya.
Hi, good morning, Srini. Hi, Marjorie.
Welcome.
Hi. It's all evening
Thank
for us here. Good morning to you.
good evening then.
Yeah.
Well, you spoke about how Mercury behaves with Mars at length. So I was wondering if you could talk about how Mercury behaves when with Saturn.
So Mercury behaves with Saturn. I mentioned it at a very high level. I'll be happy to explain. So Mercury with Saturn, even though Mercury and Saturn are friends, What happens is Mercury with Saturn would dignify Saturn to an extent. Okay, but Mercury would lose its strength, and Mercury would behave very bad. Okay, and what is interesting, Mercury and Saturn is after Saturn Mahadasha, you'll get Mercury Mahadasha, right? Or any planet you have Saturn Antardasha, you'll have Mercury Antardasha. If the degrees are around 8 degrees or less than 13 degrees conjunction between Mercury and Saturn, then what you would see is Saturn Mahadasha or Saturn Antardasha, let's say, might do a little bit better because of Mercury with Saturn. But when Mercury Antardasha comes, it will do very bad. Okay, because it's lost its strength and it's dignified Saturn. Okay, now one could automatically assume, oh, Mercury is good benefic, they are friends, it will do. No. Mercury will do reverse now, but Saturn would do a little better. That is how I would say.
All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Srini.
No problem. Yeah, no problem. This is only I've explained at a high level. Do understand that. Do understand that Saturn and Mercury are Inuch planets. Okay, somewhere Ketu comes into this mix, or depending on which house it is sitting, 1 7 axis, etc. This person has the ability of the gender issues and all those things are there for this person based on where it is sitting. You know.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
You're
Thanks, Srini.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Priya. Anyone else? We have, I believe, 5 more minutes because I have 9:40 where I'm at, but Srini, you have 8:40, right?
Yeah, say it for you. Right. Absolutely
Okay, so you
correct.
say 8:45, right?
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
5 more minutes, and whoever's on the stage would like to ask that one last question.
Thank you, Marjorie. If there are no more
No,
questions,
if there's
I
no more questions, I want to
I
thank you,
would
Srini, for your
no
time.
problem. I would just conclude with one important thing. People with Gemini, thanks, Marjorie, but I'll just conclude with one thing. People I've said earlier with Gemini ascendant, Virgo ascendant, Libra ascendant, not Libra, sorry, Sagittarius ascendant, and Pisces ascendant to an extent. Okay, should be very careful around their marriage time period, everything because of this Kendra Adipati dosha. Okay, so you got to be little careful about when you get married, etc. Okay, because do understand among all the 12 houses, 3 houses will have dual images. Pisces has got 2 fishes, Sagittarius has got a man and a like a what is called a stallion, and Gemini's got like a twins. It's 2 people. I don't call it twins, but people call it twins. And then Virgo is the only person which has got a virgin or a one girl kind of a thing, right? But other than Virgo, the other 3 houses have dual images. There is a lot of dual energy here, which also indicates about dual marriage here. Okay, so these ascendants always have to be very, very careful, right? Without knowing charts of the individuals, you can't comment, but they have to be very careful on how they choose the partner, etc. Right? So very important. I thought I will conclude by saying this at a very high level. But thank you for the participation. Some great questions today, right? And thank you. I really appreciate it. And it's been a great session, great day today. So thank you, and thanks Marjorie for moderating as well. Thanks Kushita. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your help and
Kashita.
support. And we'll be joining tomorrow for both in Zoom and Clubhouse. In Zoom, we'll be doing the video session, right? Book reading of Parashara will continue, and we'll also do the Clubhouse session as well for the audio as well. So we're talking about 6:30 Central Time tomorrow. All right, and I'm trying to think. Anything else you want to add,
I
Kushita
just
or Marjorie? Please
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just want to say thank you everyone for joining, and for to anyone that I have actually stopped from talking about your personal charts. I'm really sorry, but I'm just trying to be just trying to make sure that you respect the planet's energies. And if I've cut anyone off, and if like anyone's offended by anything I've said, please, I apologize. I'm just trying to just make sure that your privacy is also safeguarded. So that's all I wanted to say. And thanks so much, Marjorie,
Of
for taking over,
course.
and thanks, Srini.
Of course. I think you're just very passionate, and that's a good
Yeah,
thing,
and we
right?
have to
So it's
follow the
just passionate.
rules.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marjorie, and thanks, Kushita, and no problem, and appreciate it. And I think all of us have to be cognizant about, individual charts. We don't know who is recording, so we have to respect privacy as well. You're very important, yeah. So thank you and appreciate that following the rules. And thank you, guys. I know it may not be the right way, but it is. We know that it is the best one, rather, right? So we're trying to do what is actually also the right and best for all of us here in this room. So thanks for everybody. Thanks, Kushita, as well. So I'll just say a quick prayer and we'll end up the room. Yeah, thank you. You can go ahead and close the room. Yeah, Kushita, go ahead and close the room.
Thanks, Srini.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
Thank you.
in 3, 2, and 1.